Lines in the building.
Here we go again, yeah, you can do it, yeah, motivated every day, we get into it, yeah, saying lesson doing.
Welcome to another episode of the Dinner Club Podcast. It's your host with the most, Lonelle Walker, aka Peter Walker, whatever, it depends on the situation. And I got my homie Tyson in the building from Diversified Game.
What's going on? Happy to be back.
Hey, man. It's been a fun week, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's also been a somber week. We've had some crazy situations going on in the game. So we're just going to touch on different topics until we work out certain things. We're going to keep this moving with a free-spirited kind of feel, you know what I'm saying, as we just go through topics. What's going on with you, bro? Like, what's going on, man? Like, I know we just had the 2-minute drill. Like, how was that experience for you? And then also you was at E4, the cultural pitch contest. How was that experience for you as well? Man, especially being opposite of the mentor side.
Right, yeah. It was definitely different switching up the mentor side. So first, I'll tackle a 2-minute drill-a-thon. That was a good time. A lot of good people in the same room, like minds and unlike minds, just talking and leaving their mark behind the society. And a lot of good advice. It can be given in under 3 minutes. People think that it takes hours and hours of conversation to impact someone's life, when really you can do it in a few minutes. So that was good to see all of that happen. And then being at the E for All culture pitch and actually being someone that was pitching an idea, which was diversified game, was interesting. I got a lot of votes for, being the fan favorite. Got a lot of votes on that one.
Yep. You won the fan favorite, didn't you?
No, I won the wild card.
Oh, you won the wild card.
Yeah,
correct.
the wild card. But yeah, that was a good experience, and it was interesting having conversations with people there about diversity and inclusion.
Absolutely.
As it pertains to their businesses and even some stuff that they were going through at their offices. One lady expressed that she was having has a transgender person who was going to be hopping into a certain field that has to deal with money.
Okay.
And how their office was looking to deal with that because no one right now knew.
Yeah.
And so she was like, talking to me about like, well, how do you think I should deal with that? What would be the appropriate thing? And my answer to that for most people, if you listen, if you have advice on someone who's different from you, is ask them how they want to handle it.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe she doesn't want people to even question it.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to have a clear mind and go, everyone knows who I used to be, and so now we can get past that.
Yep.
Leave it up to them and their comfort level, because at the end of the day, they have to live with it, not you.
Well, see, and I hope you guys are listening, because like I'm rough around the edges. I'm more like I'm just a little nutty, you know what I'm saying? So I need somebody to be able to come in and balance that out, you know what I'm saying? So that's why Tyson's here, because like if you want to be motivated or pushed to your maximum, then I'm the coach. But then we have the counsel, you know what I'm saying? And Tyson's definitely the counsel. He's been doing a great job with myself and others that he works with. So it's important because he likes to see all aspects. I appreciate someone who has
That's
a routine, but yeah, facts. That's true.
Yeah.
I appreciate, and I'm an Aries, so yeah, it makes more sense that I'm just willing to ram shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just willing to ram shit. I rep the Lions too, so I'm willing to ram and maul shit. You know what I mean? So it's one or the other. That's my work style. But it's dope to have a contrast to that and have someone who knows how to cross their T's and dot their I's in this industry, knows how to actually get you to the actual information. Now, once you have that information, if you need somebody to put their foot up your ass and get you to do what you need to do, I'm the guy to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a coach all the way through and through. I don't deal with anything meekly. Right. I'm not these new kind of coaches who hand out participation trophies. No. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty dope though, because like E4All's a cool concept. I think the only thing that I've been expressing, and this has been an open expression of mine, is that sometimes it can have a false sense of the comfort level that you have to deal with when you're an entrepreneur.
Right. And
as an entrepreneur, you're in more uncomfortable situations than not a lot of the time, just because you got to get out there and feel different rooms.
Right.
And find that room that matches you. And also like, what is it? Say the most critical time for a business. What is it? The first 3 years or something like that? 3
years. Now, and see, here's the issue with that. And not even an issue. I think what you need to look at as an entrepreneur is your decision making and problem solving.
Correct.
And sometimes having good counsel is great all the time. Let me take that back. But believing that you're supposed to have great counsel,
yes,
that is a fallacy.
Okay.
You're supposed to be looking at yourself 9 times out of 10 and saying, I have to make this decision right now.
Yes.
About my business and about my life. And so as great as, mentoring people is, one thing I want to make sure that if you're an entrepreneur out there who maybe doesn't have a mentor currently or is looking for one, you can find one. But until you do, you've got to learn how to make those tough decisions about your business and moving forward.
Well, what's funny to me is what's interesting to me and what everything you just said is that decisiveness. Like, that's a great thing to touch on because I make decisions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have an issue making decisions. And a lot of the times when I see a lot of, ebbs going on in a lot of places because someone's afraid to make the tough call. I don't know if it's been my upbringing. I don't know if it was when I was 18. I was running the public safety department for 5 different colleges in Boston. I don't know if it was me dealing with bidding contracts at millions of dollars at 18, 19, 20, you know, being in business. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I mean, it could have been my experience on the block as well. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to survive and navigate that environment. It could be both. I honestly do think it is both. But I've always had every decision I made, even as a child, walking through the neighborhood was like life or death. So making a tough decision, tough decision, I think some people don't meet tough decisions until they become teenagers. Some of them are too coddled. And me, going to the corner store was a tough decision.
Right.
Like I had to decide. Man, I have to do the math. What's the probability that the smoke that happened last night is going to be serious today and I could be a bystander walking to the store? So I think that lifestyle has given me an ability in this climate that's really hard for people to have because people will make a decision, but they'll do it underhanded or they'll do it sneakily or they'll present it to you after the fact. They don't want to come to you
just say what
straightforward, make a decision. And that's one thing about entrepreneurship. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions. Sometimes it won't work out in your favor, but you have to live and die by your decisions. You have to live and die on your sword. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As long as you have informed yourself enough and you think that you made the best well-informed decision, because sometimes things don't work.
Well, and that's the other thing. You have to make the best decision with the information you have. It may not have been the best decision, but at that time, if that's all you had to go off of and make that decision, then you made the right decision. If you get information later, in most cases, you can change your decision, you can evolve, you can grow. So don't be scared to, mess up and go, well, what if this, what if that? You got to make a decision with the information you have.
I think that's another thing I learned growing up. Like I was always a kid running around, scraping my knees, getting stitches, jumping over gates. Don't go in there. And my silly ass went in there, but I learned through those ebbs and flows. I learned through a lot of my mistakes. I'm glad that I just didn't make too many mistakes that could hold me back permanently. Right. But as far as the growing pains, like people have to understand that's a part of the process. I think some of this came from the social media wave where like Instagram and things like that makes everything seem so grandiose. And it's like, you got to take a step back to reality. Like that can be your social media, marketing, branding, whatever. But as a human being, you can't let that leak into your actual physical world when you're getting into these meeting spaces. Because it's a mess. It's a messy thing. Like what's the art of business? It's cleaning up messes, solving problems. How do you become rich and wealthy in life? You know what I'm saying? You're solving problems. How do you become a good person in your community? Solving problems. Like most of this is solving problems. And a lot of the climate that I'm seeing is problem oriented. I'm going through some stuff myself right now because I walk the line and I explain to people all the time. I walk the line and I'm dealing with a lot going on in the world. At the same time, I'm out here trying to help the community. I feel like Nipsey a lot of the time. I got people that's pulling at me as well. So I want to segue into that because how do you navigate a space where you're trying to do better for your people, but sometimes it's the people that you're helping that will hurt you first?
Man, one, it's tough to navigate that because you're going to be torn naturally. Because you're always told that when you make it out, when you do better, you're supposed to look out for the hood. What is it? The Jay-Z line, niggas talk to me crazy like I was supposed to stay the same or whatever. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to evolve. That's part of life. You know what I mean? You're not going to tell me that you're still sucking on your mom's tit.
Yeah, for real.
At 30.
Real. You're not coddled.
You know what I mean? You have to move on from the tit to walking to
absolutely.
All
Birds
of that.
Gotta fly out that nest.
Exactly. So evolution is supposed to happen. So when you do get that success and you do want to give back, I think sometimes you got to do it from afar. You can't do it still there.
I can tell you, I was not prepared.
Yeah.
It's different when you're on the other side of the ball, but something changed when I got married, had my daughter, had my and bought our home. And things have changed. People changed. People expected more from me for them than they were doing for themselves.
Right.
And it's crazy because most of my life I couldn't see why people left and didn't do anything. You understand what I'm saying? But then I feel those pressures now. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff that I'm dealing with as far as like myself outside the community is literally people just not being able to cope with the fact that I did the things I needed to do to get to where I'm at. And I've always encouraged them to do it, but you cannot there's this thing of a lack of accountability,
right?
Where it's like, no, do it for me. No, do it for yourself.
Learn.
Fam. I'll give you all the tools you want in your life. I can give you my toolbox, my schematics, everything, the blueprint. But bro, you got to pick that hammer up and build your foundation.
Exactly.
And it's tough because like it's hard for people to understand that and navigate that. I couldn't carry 20 people no more. Like you said, like I'm not your mom, bro. Like I used to tell these dudes all the time, I'm not your mom and I'm not your girlfriend. You want sympathy? Go talk to them.
Right.
We are men trying to get things done in the climate and in the world that's tough to get things done in. So it's a crazy thing. So like when I look at the Nipsey situation, man, like R.I.P. to Nipsey, man. Right. But I also can feel for 6ix9ine. I also can feel for Troy Ave's because you know why? This whole dynamic is all a fallacy and it's built for those 3 scenarios. It really is built for those 3 scenarios. For you to be in prison for the rest of your life or snitching on your boys. It's built for you to be trying to hold up this tough guy image, you know what I'm saying, while you're walking around, but you really want to do stuff for the community. Or it's built in a way where some people in your community are so infected so deeply with this that they'll take your life.
Wasn't supposed to make it past 25.
I wasn't.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
I'm still
joke's
alive.
on you. I'm still alive. You know what I mean? So turning 34, you know what I'm saying, and coming to a different side. I had to close a few accounts. I had to close a few street accounts over the week. And I don't feel any kind of way about it because that's me trying to, really just put out the fire finally and just move on. You know what I'm saying? But like, people have to understand. And I explain to people in the community as well. Like, everybody who meets me in person be like, wow, I would never believe this guy would just like kick somebody's ass. I will. Like, I protect people. Like, that's what I do. And I protect my image and my family and my brand the most. So it's like, people have to understand it. Like, I'm a community guy. I am. But the village needs warriors. You feel what I'm saying? A village without warriors is susceptible to being
invasion.
wiped out.
Yep.
You're susceptible. Like, when colonizers came and nobody knew how to defend themselves, you were screwed. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, we have to have warriors in the village. And I'm just a warrior of the village. You know what I'm saying? So I walk the line. I always explain this to people all the time. I don't teach these kids through my perfections. I teach them through my flaws. I still tell them I'm a work in progress. I don't come from the angle like, oh, I got it all together just because I got married, had a kid, and got a house. No, I'm still navigating that space. So it's tough when I look at somebody like Nipsey and I see Lauren so hurt and I feel so bad. I think that's so overlooked. People are so focused on the conspiracies and stuff. And you got a mother, a wife, you got a family, you have families, you got, kids, you got generations that were just affected by this. You know what I'm saying? And it did feel very Tupac-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when Pac died. I remember watching the news. I remember when Pac died. I remember when he was on life support. They got him to the hospital, all this craziness. It was crazy on the news. And I got that same vibe. Now, he may not have been as impactful on the music side, but on the business side, he was way further ahead, in my opinion, than when Pac got.
Absolutely. I'll say
Pac died, what, 24? I think he was 24. Him and Biggie was 24, now, 25. It was one of the two of them.
What I want to say, and just a quick comparison between them, because, obviously they had both their West Coast ties, even though Tupac hailed from the East. Don't forget that.
Yeah, sure did hail from New York.
So what I want to say about that is Tupac had the spiritual side down, the community side down, that kind of more revolutionary feel from the heartstrings.
Absolutely.
Nipsey had that revolutionary feel from the purse strings. He was like, get your money right, get your business correct, and you can help your community that way. Pac was like, let's feel good, let's get together and grow together. So it was... They had their different dynamics, both necessary to survive.
But look how they walked the line.
They didn't survive.
Look how they walked, because they walking a line. You know what I'm saying? Like, walking that line is tough. Like, I want to be in my community helping people, but every single time I go back to Boston, I'm back on the front lines. I'm always a target because there's people who have hate in their heart, fam. I can go back and be doing a food drive. People have hate in their heart. They're like, look at this dude. The famous belly guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to drop a dime on that over there.
Yeah.
Like, there's those people, like, all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it hit me in the gut, and it still hit me in the gut now because... That's my big, I washed away a lot of my fears of dying. You know what my fear is now? Like, the way of going out is being killed by some sucker who just has hate in their heart.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so when I saw that, it hit me differently because that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Like, I've lived most of my life thinking I'm going to die at the hand of someone who loved me.
Right. Someone who was supposed to be there.
Not the cops. That's why I be telling, like, I deal with the cops and all this stupid shit, the systematic shit, but in my neighborhood, in my own community, my own brothers and sisters that look like me, my life has been on the line more times than not from my own people.
Right.
I have been in more gun situations, knife situations, fight situations, life or death situations with people that look just like me, fam. or from my community. Don't gotta like me because we live in a diverse city, or from my community, from my background.
Right.
And that always puzzles me because let me give you an example. I went to Martha's Vineyard recently, right? I always had this vision in my head because of how, poorness is a mentality. And you can get trapped into that. And now that I'm in this so-called, middle class, you know what I'm saying? I see things a little bit differently in that bracket than I did before because I'm getting around certain people once I got into the middle class to see things. And there's this stigma with a lot of people who have money. Well, let me tell you something. I went out to Martha's Vineyard and I was around millionaires the whole time I was out there. And I was treated with nothing but respect. No one batted an eye at me. No one acted funny. I was so dumbfounded by that. And I feel ignorant saying that, but I am ignorant in a lot of areas. I'm still learning how to process stuff. And I felt so dumbfounded by the fact that we were so welcome.
Well, and you have to look at it. And this is how I look at it is they're not worried about you.
They're not.
Like, at the end,
what threat do we pose? That's what I start to realize.
Right.
What threat do I pose? I don't pose a threat to them business, physically, mentally, nothing.
What do you and here's what I try to look at it. We always made this joke like black people will rob you of what you have now, white people rob you of your future. Like they literally like so okay, if you came
systematically the people that are applied to that system. Yep. Right.
Absolutely. If you came to my house and I felt any type of way and you took my candelabra, like I could get another one. You know what I mean? But what we can't get is another future. When you affect that, that's the real impact.
Thank you for watching the Dinner Club Podcast. If you want to stay up to date with our new content and episodes, please like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to hit that bell for notifications.